Good evening, everybody. Final installment of the return. We've got the main event of UFC 311 tomorrow night. It was Islam Makhachev against Arman Tsarukyan. Unfortunately, Arman is out. We believe it's a reoccurring back injury. That's what has been fed to us so far. So, unfortunately for Beneil Dariush, he is now off the card. His opponent, Renato Moicano, steps in to face Islam Makhachev for the UFC Lightweight Championship. That in turn means Jolton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak is boosted up to the main card. A fantastic main card, it has to be said. Some great fights on there. So much so that it's not a massive dagger that we've lost Arman against Islam, although it was a fantastic fight and a much better fight than we are going to get. But we're here, boys. It's going to happen. Money Moicano's in. He was rumored to be fighting Paddy Pimblett not so long ago. Now he's fighting Islam for the belt. You got to give him credit. He went to France and beat Benoit Saint-Denis. We watched that one. He was dropped and badly hurt by Jalen Turner before turning it around on him in the round after it. I think we also did a live watch along for that one. So, look, he's earned his way up. I think he's won 4 in a row. He's got one of the longest active win streaks in the division since RDA put a bit of a pummeling on him a few years back now. Look, you know, I'll give you both the floor to discuss it. I'm just going to get my thoughts and my prediction out of the way. First of all, I do not give Renato Moicano any chance of beating Islam. He doesn't have the power to catch his attention on the feet. Islam's boxing is especially improved. You know, we saw him put Volk away with the head kick. His striking is very good. Islam Makhachev, similar to how Khabib's got towards the end as well. You know, these guys are, you know, we know how good they are on the ground, but they really worked hard to get into a position. You know, Islam outboxed and dropped Charles Oliveira before choking him out as well. You know, he could really fight on the feet. Yeah. You know, Moicano, he's got no power really. He's great on the ground, but Islam's better than him at his best area.
He's just awkward, isn't he? He's not, you know, he's just awkward.
He doesn't have the threat to do anything to Islam for me. I'm going to go with a second round finish. I feel like I'm being a bit kind to Renato Moicano with it as well. I do wish him the best because I do like him. He's got a great personality. You know, he's got a pretty cool gimmick going on with the whole money thing as well. But, Islam by any way he wants. And that's without me trying to be disrespectful to Moicano. But it could be one of them where he drops him and then sort of jumps on him and chokes him. You know, he choked Poirier, didn't he, in the last round. I'm going to go with Islam via a submission at the very start of round 2 after Moicano survives round 1 by this much. But yeah, look, it's been thrown together on, you know, just over 24 hours notice, hasn't it? One thing I want to say before I give you to the floor, though, I'm going to shut up for the rest of it after that. How many UFC cards have had backup fighters in recent times? You know, just, you know, so you have the main fight and then, you know, Volkanovski is the king of it. He always used to weigh in. And, you know, we had Aspinall, I think, as weighed. You know,
Michael Chandler debuted as a backup. You know, he debuted as a backup fighter.
That's it. He did. You're right. Yeah, he did.
That was his first contract with the UFC after signing.
You're right. He did.
He was a backup fighter.
So the first time that we've needed a backup fighter, and God knows how long. What? And this is a rhetorical question, obviously. Why didn't Charles Oliveira weigh in?
I think some people take it as a disrespect, don't they? You know, if you're not giving me it anyway, then why should I back it? But this is, you know, life in general is about taking opportunities and seizing chances, etc. And Money Moicano's been crying out for big fights and the main events and the big fight. He went across to France. Let's be real, Paris is probably one of the most hostile atmospheres in recent times. You know, it's a proper bear pit. I'd love to go to an event in Paris, be it a UFC or just an event in general, because they sound mad. And to do what he did as the underdog in the Lions Den is great, you know. But yeah, it's you know, he's cried for the chances. He got that chance, and then look, he's done and proved that being a backup fighter pays dividends. Because I'm assuming they've doubled his money, or you know, he's not doing this for the same purse for fighting Beneil Dariush.
Absolutely not.
You know, so and he's always spouting about economics and money and investing, etc. And here's proof that you take the right chances and the opportunities will fall in your lap. You know, 24 hours ago he was fighting down the card in a decent fight. You know, a fight that it could potentially have lost, because if Beneil Dariush turns up, you know, he's got all the skills to beat Money Moicano. Now he is headlining the biggest event of the year. Yes, I know we're only in the start of January, but ultimately it's the biggest card of the year, and it's the first pay-per-view of the year. It's a big event for him, for the company. Also, it carries favour with the company, the fact that he's bailing them out, because a lot of guys wouldn't have took it. Look who he's facing. He's facing the man. You know, Islam's pound for pound number 1-ish, 2, 3.
I think he's actually number 1.
So, you know, he's facing the man, not just the champion of his weight division, but the pound for pound number 1. So you've got to give him his props for that. But it's proof that, like you said, Sam, why are more people not doing this? Why do we not have backup fighters for every championship fight so that the card keeps going? As you said, it's a big enough and stacked enough card for it not. You know, I found out on the journey home, you guys told me. And I did, and normally it's like, shit, what? And I've got to pull over and scramble through the internet and find out. But I just waited. It wasn't that. I was gutted because I wanted to see it. I thought Arman had a chance. But it was like, all right, okay. Because I knew that, you know, the fight had been made and it's a stacked card anyway. Even if Makhachev had had to be pulled off the card, Merab versus Umar is the main event in itself. And the card below it, it's not as though a lot of UFC cards, when they have double title fights, there's not much after it. This has got fights all the way down. The prelims are good as well. You know, there's some great 50-50 matchups. So, yeah, I agree. They should have more backup fighters. But as I said, some may feel disrespected, but Moicano won't feel disrespected, irrespective of the result, when his paycheck lands.
Correct.
Look, first of all, massively gutted for Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, he fought on 300s, had that absolutely crazy confrontation with the fan on his walkout, got banned for 5 months, and then this was his first fight after that. So, okay, devil's advocate, the ban self-inflicted. He shouldn't have got involved with the fan. He beat Charles Oliveira that night, and he possibly could have had this fight at the back end of 24 if he didn't get banned, but set for the start of this year, you know, it's where we were. The fact he's pulled out at 31 hours notice, I think Dana said in his post about it, just, you know, absolutely gutting for him. The fact that it's Moicano is great for name value, but that's about all it is. As both boys have said, his best area is on the ground. However, Makhachev is far superior. He's 2 or 3 times the fighter that Moicano is on the ground, and that's the reality of it. Just he has a good area on the ground, but
in terms of grappling, I think Moicano's better than him in terms of jiu-jitsu, but it's not a jiu-jitsu match, is it?
It's not going to be. No, it's not a jiu-jitsu match, and it's just, you know, we still got a decent main event here. We can't complain. You hope Armand will get the shot in June or July, but as we know with Makhachev, I mean, this is probably one of the quicker turnarounds Makhachev's had in the last 2 or 3 years. He doesn't often fight this quickly, so if we can get him back out in the summer, then hopefully we get the matchup we should have seen. But Sam was generous saying second round for Makhachev submission. I'll say first round. I think Moicano, as soon as he finds himself on the ground in a position he doesn't like, he's going to realise he's out of his depth and he'll tap. I think he'll realise pretty quickly that preparing for Benral Dariush is one thing, stepping up for Makhachev, who is the ultimate pound-for-pound number 1 of this entire organisation. Like you say, Jay, not just this division's champion, he is the king of the whole organisation, is a step too far. So all the credit in the world for stepping in at such short notice, but
he's been training for a fellow Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. Beneil Dariush is not known for his striking. His striking's you know, it's not Ben Askren like, but it's certainly nowhere near as good as Islam.
No.
So he's going to be ill prepared going into this fight. Yes, he's had a camp and he was due to fight anyway, but not against this guy. This is levels and levels above. No disrespect to Beneil. You know, Beneil is a contender. Just sorry, before I give him a prediction, just going back to Arman. I did have a little nosy, and I saw some people saying that he was using it as an excuse. And I don't know, you guys probably know, but what a lot of people don't realise is Arman's from money.
Yeah.
He's from one of the biggest construction companies in Eastern Europe, right? He were driving a Rolls Royce to his debut. So
he doesn't need to fight.
He fights because he wants to fight, not for money. Doesn't need to fight for money. So he's not going to pussy out of a fight. So just stick that narrative where the sun don't shine. Yeah, anyway, sorry.
That's not a narrative we carry, mate. But yeah, I've seen
absolutely not. No. I'm talking to people online that I've seen
in
the comments.
After such a delay as well, 300 was what, April, wasn't it? And obviously he had the self-imposed ban, which is his fault, like I said. He's not then going to choose to pull out at 31 hours notice on his biggest
opportunity. Makes no sense.
There's no guarantees he's going to get the title shot against, we think, Makhachev in later this year. But, so he could have jeopardized himself for another 12, 16 months in theory, because he's scared. He's not scared. He's legitimately injured. Otherwise, he would have pulled out sooner. That's another thing. He's pulled out this late because he is legitimately injured. He hasn't pulled out for any other reason. He would have pulled out earlier. If it was, cut in sparring or something like that, that would have come out sooner. But he's woken up this morning out in LA. Something isn't right. And he's pulled out rather than going in there and risking.
I respect that more. You have to respect that.
That's what I was going to say, Jay. He's not going to get another chance. He's lost to Islam already in the UFC. It wasn't a title fight, but he's lost to him already. You have to presume that Islam's going to have a long reign. Yeah. He's not going to get a third whack at him. So, he has to go into that fight healthy. If it means he has to wait another 6 months,
So you have to respect the
bomber, but you can't beat Islam at 50%. You need 110% of yourself to beat Islam. He's that good. So. Yes, so Liam, you went first round, I went second. Jay, have you got a prediction for us?
Yeah, and I've changed it a couple of times. I thought that, Moicano was going to get absolutely steamrolled, and then I've gone back and watched the Benoit Saint-Denis fight, and I think Benoit Saint-Denis hits harder than Makhachev. I think Benoit Saint-Denis hits really fucking hard.
Yeah, he does.
And Moicano took his best. So I can see him sort of hanging on against the cage and using his offensive jiu-jitsu to stop himself getting ragdolled. So I could see him hanging on for a couple of rounds. I think he's going to get stopped more like round 3.
Okay.
I think he's going to hang on. So I think first round is going to be fresh and he's not going to be as sweaty, so it'll be dry. Islam will get hold of him, but I think he'll be able to maneuver his way, answering the phone and whatnot to not get choked out. But I think we will see him on Islam on his back, put them both on the ground. I think the second round will be a little bit harder for him in terms of, I think he's probably going to get cut. He's probably going to take some knees and heads up against the cage. But I can see a lot of the work. I think he's going to actively look to get his back on the cage so that he can then put his weight on his hips, keep his legs wide apart and lean forward and try to stop him. But then Islam will just trip him up and land on top of him. So I'm agreeing with you boys. I think it's going to be a fairly simple night's work. I don't want to say easy, but I think he's going to give Islam a couple of rounds. So I'm going for round 3. So I think we've got 1, 2, 3, haven't we?
Okay, yeah, we got round 1, round 2, and round 3, all for Islam Makhachev, and still fair play to Moicano for stepping up and taking it. Let's see if he can pull off what will be one of the biggest shocks in mixed martial arts history.
Absolutely. If he wins that, man, jeez.
I think it goes straight to the top, doesn't it? I can't, all the circumstances, I can't think of much else I'd put
above it. Which is why, boys, off camera on X, I said, we have to look at the likes of Conor doing what he did to Aldo. No one picked him to win, let alone how he won. So, we could get one of those Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm
Rousey, what do you call it? Pena against Nunes, one of them kind
what you've got to remember as well is what mindset. I think Islam is a consummate professional, right? But it could be something inside him that thinks, this dickhead can't beat me. Watch this. Bam, and wakes up on his back. Because we've seen Islam flatlined before.
That's why we watch it. That's why we come back and we watch it every time.
Yeah, mate. Look, there's enough intrigue there, and that's what I mean. It's still a good enough main event for us to be as invested into watching it at probably 6 a.m. Sunday morning as we were when it was Arman. But there's more levels between the two fighters than ever between Makhachev and Arman. That's where the argument comes from. But
close, is it? And
Moicano pulling this off would go for me top three, definitely, maybe even to the top of greatest MMA shocks.
It's up there with Bisping and Rockhold, I think, for me. If you
because of the notice for it and everything else.
Definitely.
And I think, and just for anyone that's confused, this dickhead can't beat me is Dagestani staple. They say that all the time. I've heard.
Yeah, Jay is after winning Dagestani, so we'll take his word for it.
I love it. Right then, boys, we'll wrap that one up for now. We'll be there for the main card of UFC 311 tomorrow night / Sunday morning here in the UK. Plenty more to come after that. Big up to Jay's Fight Talk and Liam Tully for joining me for the prediction shows tonight. Always love Friday nights because it's Saturday the next day, fight day in just a few hours. Boys, we'll do it tomorrow night. We'll see what it brings. Can Money Moicano pull off one of the biggest UFC and it could be one of the biggest mixed martial arts of all time? Probably not, but yeah. We've given it as much.
Come on, Money Moicano.
As much big up as we can.
Wrong, man. Prove us all wrong.
Yeah, prove us wrong, Moicano. Boys, I'll see you tomorrow for the watch along. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks to those who tuned in.